Hello everyone, this is Xandertutor, and I'm back with Random Cast episode 50. That's right, 2 videos in a row. Amazing. Anyway, I am here with another Random Cast. Let's just keep saying the same thing over again, yep. We're on Punjing Valley. On the blue team, we have Harakazi. Same clan tag as in 1911 from last video. This is a slightly older replay than the one I did last. This one is from December 11th, 2023. The other one was from, was it last week? It was uploaded a week before, whatever. It's from March 2024. Technically, it's April 1st now. Don't worry, no April Fools today. If I even get around to editing this. Editing in, quotations there, because it's mostly just me trimming bits off the ends of the video and then, rendering the video in a format that's more YouTube friendly. Anyway, so Hadakazi on the blue team with a NATO mech deck. It's interesting. Is that like the Kovagen M48? Is that like the Norwegian command tank? I can't remember. And then on the red team we have, I looked up the person's name and I'm blanking on it. According to Google Translate, it was Chinese. Even if I remembered, I didn't butcher the pronunciation horribly. And they're, according to this, or the replay site, none/mech/all. I see an FE432, so that's British. But whatever, let's just speed this along. Can look at their... So maybe it's a blue mech deck? I don't know. No, the other person's a blue mech deck. I don't even know what this is. Commonwealth? That looks like Commonwealth. Internet is not, or websites are not perfect. We all know this. Oh, blue's best, so we start with them. FOB, got this one. Yep, Norwegian. Only one top armor though, so it's going to be pretty vulnerable to like cluster munitions. And or a direct hit from artillery or a bomb. Anyway, Puma Pirate, that's going to be Commando Para. That's Swedish? Yep. So that's going to be the... Can't remember the name of the Swedish recon. Shock recon. Those guys, is it Panzer something? Or Jaeger something? I can't remember, whatever, doesn't matter. Mixed turkey VTTs, that's the French one. I'm guessing that's going to be Chasseur, some description in there. Another Swedish recon. Is that the Dutch one? No, it's the German one. The Dutch, I know the Dutch have Bo 105s. I can't remember if they have them for recon. Anyways, it's very good optics. It's not a useless helicopter. I prefer something that has like an armament so it can do some sort of shenaniganizing. Got Chumats, more Chasseurs, AMX 10 RCs. Those are always good. Not as good as they were at 30 points, but they were also completely broken. M113A1's 3050s, that's the Australian one, or Anzac, so it's going to be Commandos in there. And M1 IP Abrams, very chunky, brawling tank. Gun is not great for the price, not in terms of AP and range, but has a lot of armor for the price, and the accuracy stabilizer are decent. Well, good and decent. So judging by that, looks like... let's see. These guys are probably going to go just chill up in there in Bravo. Just keep an eye on things. These guys presumably are going to go in here and just, be a blocking force, holding force. Main force, however, looks like it's going Foxtrot. Probably try and get into these buildings here and just take all of Foxtrot. Always a good strategy. It's very easy to do. If you're on the Echo side, try and take Foxtrot at the beginning, and when you're on the Charlie side, try and take Bravo. Get into this forest here, especially into those buildings, you're golden. And yeah, anyway, speaking of red player. So it looks like they're Commonwealth mech. So it looks like this is mech versus mech. Interesting, two mech decks meeting in ranked. That doesn't happen very often. Not the best map for a mech deck, but obviously since both decks are mech decks, kind of cancels out because they probably have the same limitations, though. Obviously blue mech does get, you know, MX 10RC type shenanigans to do. But anyway, regardless, I am wasting time. 3050s with, oh, that's going to be upvetted commandos and rover wombats, because you need your wombats to combats. In case you didn't know, wombat is a very tortured acronym. Weapon of Magnesium Battalion Anti-Tank is what it stands for. The British. What do you expect? Anyway. So is it just, you know, just those guys there? Pinscour with, that's probably going to be green jackets. M113A1, that's going to be Javelin, upvetted by the looks of it. And that's going to be Milan 2, upvetted. M125 from Mortar. Fob, FE432. Just the one command from that guy. Yep. One command there, so both players doing one command starts. No Mortar from the other side. Stormer HVM and Track Rapier for AA. Actually, yeah, like, didn't. No AA. That's a pretty risky start. Spartan, that's going to have SBS in it. Oh, yeah, here. Challenger 1 Mark 1s, they're decently chunky tank for the price. Green jackets. And that's going to be... Oh, that's going to be Fusiliers of some flavor. Coyote Recon. Another Javelin team, and more Fusiliers. Alright. So it definitely looks like red players going more in Alpha into Bravo. Makes sense. Get into those buildings there. That gives you a nice, you know, anchor point to hold or to defend Alpha and then push into Delta. And then, yeah, you want to just grab Bravo if you can. And we're on ×2. My tea is too hot to take a sip of, so I'm just going to have some water. I didn't even notice that Puma HC1 there. Is that going to be SAS in there? Uh-oh, could be some sneaky shenanigans. Oh, there's a handsome order right there. Or Moisier. It's German. It's a weird language. They have a word for everything. Wombat's gonna get wrecked by an XRC. Ooh, they do get a hit. And the one goes down. Oh, and they get Wombats paid for themselves right there. That's great. Nope, Milan. Well, looks like they took a hit getting into the building. Are they gonna... And they missed. Good old Milans. Oh, yeah. Doing a Delta push. And yet, oh yeah, looks like just a light holding force. Both players have put into Bravo. Yep, SAS. If they run into those commandos, they're going to be in trouble because SAS are, they only have rifles to engage infantry with, so they're not very good at fighting other infantry, especially shock. Territorials. Upvetted Territorials. That was not something I was expecting. Okay, interesting. Ah, you back them up to Commandos 90 and they'll do some work. Who downvetted Chasseur. They're kind of like one of the worst 10-pointers. Like the machine guns average, submachine guns are not great on light infantry, and the LRAC at 73 is terrible. It's the shortest range of any infantry anti-tank weapon in the game. For some reason. It's not even a full range increment below the like a 525 meter one like what the Territorials have. I don't know. That's weird. And oh, interesting. Commandos Para, yep. Sneaking around. Interesting plays from our blue player here. Oh wait, there was an HG section. I didn't even notice that. So, red player's taking at +2. Oh, I'm zooming in on something random. Slow down a bit. Didn't see I was Falskamyaga. That's what they're. I couldn't remember. Yeah, Panzerjäger. Now that's for armored Falconier. They're parachutists, apparently. Paratroopers. Parachute hunters. Commando's 90 going wide around. There's a chaperone pushing up. Commando's 90 popping some AMX 13s. Ah, Kute 90. Interesting choice. They're 30-point infantry squad. Like, you know, their anti-infantry's fine. You know, they have a rifle, assault rifles, and the minions. So it's a good combo. Carl Gustav on the 30-point infantry is just kind of lackluster, though. Yeah. Adakazi is reinforcing their position in Bravo. That's good. Get ATGNs in there. Looks like, yeah, Red's going for broken Delta, which is, you know, pushing your opponent's 2-pointer is always a semi-viable option, just because, like, if you can deny them that +2, that gives you a big advantage. But you have to be careful, because if you lose your flank, that can threaten your push into the 2-pointer. But it's nice to see that, you know, the blue player is definitely, you know, making a very concerted effort to hold this entire forest line. And this is something I'm guilty of, but you know, lots of people do it, is getting into what you can call like the lane mentality, where, you know, you have the Foxtrot lane, you know, you fight through here. You have the Delta Alpha lane, you fight through there. And then you have the Bravo lane, you know, you fight through there. And you just hyper focus on just, you know, going straight between the objectives, and you forget that, you know, you have this whole section of forest to work with. Oh, let's see, SAS did get spotted by something. Yeah, Commandos engaged them. Oh yeah, two TH-495s, looks like they're upvetted. So that's going to be a nasty little combo in a fight. The Canadian Rifles 85 along with the IFV. It was better at 15 points with 2 armor, but it's not horrible at its current price point. And, you know, the 3 front side armor does give it some leeway, just because, you know, 16 AP weapons or heat weapons are relatively common, you know, like the M72 Law, or 772A4 specifically. Oh, ooh, stabilization malfunction on the Challenger. Mark 1's not a huge loss. And this is kind of like where weakness you see of the Kute 90 is that 18 AP on the Carl Gustav M2 versus 19 frontal armor. You know, they're only doing 1 damage. But it's good at popping lighter vehicles. They'll one-shot to what? They'll one-shot 4 armor, but not 5, if I recall correctly. Or is it? Yep, I did. Okay, I did see the command tank getting called out from blue. So that will end the +2 tick, but our red player has been ticking for a while now. That's 176 versus 3 points. It's a bit of a difference. However, let's not forget there's the SAS. Oh, speaking of that, Commando's Para have snuck right in. This is why you always, as early as you can, like this is why I like cheap recon helicopters, you get them out early, you put them out on the flanks. And you can spot things coming in a bit better. And also not leaving big gaps. Anyway, CF-18, that's the cluster bomber. And it's going to fly right into some AA. It's just going for it. Must have... Ooh. Is that a one-shot? Couldn't have been. Must have been 2 hits. Yeah, both hit. So that was a waste of, what, 125 points? That must have been a right-click attack and it just kept flying. Oh, coffee. Oh, 381mm mortar is very nice. Green Jackets got caught out and destroyed. Yep, blue player has Foxtrot pretty, like, just has this whole section. That's very good. That allows them to basically influence the ability of our red player to push Delta. Oh hey, FE-105 Sultan. That's not something you see very often. It's not horrible. Not amazing either. It just kind of is. But yeah, as I was saying, basically, red player cannot push Delta because they're going to get outflanked through Foxtrot. Oh, Eric's team. Interesting. They're okay. Not amazing as a fist team just because of their guided weapon. So compared to some like the other fist team that Canada has, which is the Maw with the Carl Gustav, which, you know, just really just not less range, less power, less accuracy, but you know, it's dumb fire. You don't have to guide, you just fire it, and if it hits, it hits. Those Commando Para, yeah, I'm gonna be able to see everything coming in. SAS are also moving in. That could be trouble. M113A1. 3050 is just bullying the regular M113. They're the same vehicle, except this one has a 30 cal as well. And it goes down. Shadows that D just chilling in there. Ooh, they got hit on that M48A5 command tank. Abrams out of fuel. That just happens. Was it? No, I've seen green jackets in this upfitted. I don't know. Yeah, because I don't think mech gets SPS, does it? Yeah, whatever. You know, these guys have their weapons off so they don't give their position away. Pirates coming in has the 20mm, so it can potentially do some damage, but there is the Javelin, which won't one-shot it, but especially at this range, that's going to be pretty decent accuracy. And it's gone. Oh, but they did see the command section. Now the question is the blue player going to have a unit to act with immediately, or are they going to do something that different? Territories are just going to get shredded by commandos in the chasseur. Well, more the commandos in the chasseur, but chasseur are going to be better in the fight because they have machine gun. Now, question is, oh, Territorials have spotted the SAS. Oh, yep, immediately calling infantry out, redirecting the TH-495s. That's fast reaction, that's good. But now the question is, how much attention was the blue player paying when that pirate was flying over? Oh, commanders went down, Cobra got them, or helped get them. Also an AMX-10 RC, but didn't shoot at all. Foxtrot's captured. So that's gotten rid of the +1 tick that the red player had for a bit. I didn't point that out, but they did have it because the Sultan and Bravo. 230 to 3, that's a big point deficit for blue. Not insurmountable, though. Especially if they actually manage to whack the CV Charlie for red. Or the Charlie CV. Those Challenger 1 Mark 1s are going to be trouble, though. Because they can bully an M1 IP Abrams pretty easily. But they are pretty shot up. Oh, and that one's just completely out of fuel. And there's an idea of running to the Puma that dropped off the SAS. And they can... That's down vetted. These guys are up vetted, so in a straight fight they'll beat those guys, but more damage reduction from being in buildings, plus these guys have to get through the vehicles, so that'll be a pretty... I'd say it's more weighted towards blue if they're micro property, but you never know. Here, Commando's 90 is getting chewed up by the M13s. So chests here got in the green jackets, so they're not going to be falling for the world. SCS went down. Commando pair are still up, though. Hammered. Oh, yep, these guys have been caught out by the Commandos 90 in the building. More Challenger 1 Mark 1s. These guys have 4 HE. They're pretty brutal against infantry. Aim's got a shot on them, but they're going to try and now the two get into the forest to engage each other now. And it's remarking the general area of the command section, or the HQ section rather. Got a territorial meat wave moving in. No fire support for them though, so they're just gonna die. Unless he's planning on, or so red player here is planning on walking these Commandos 90 forward, which, with the smoke. Oh, here we go, F-111C. Who's getting nuked? Everything's getting, oof, brutal. Gotta love the F-111C. Less memey than when it had, was it 6 or 8, 1-ton bombs. Imperial tons, not metric tons. I guess technically these are measured in 1,000 kilograms, so it is a 1 metric ton, but the actual Mark 48 is 1 Imperial ton. Yeah. It's not as memey as when it had, like 8 bombs, but it's also much more survivable because it has more ECM. Oh yeah, looks like red players kind of turned the situation around. They still don't have control of this area, but they have basically wiped out all the units that were there, or most of the units, and have kind of put the blue player on the back foot in Delta. Everything's retreating except for the guy who literally cannot retreat. How many losses is this thing going to eat? Well, theoretically a maximum of, or a minimum of 5, I guess. Maximum, who knows? Depending on how many miss. Which, base law is not very accurate. But also it's being used by reservists who are getting shot at. And also the Challenger ones are doing that, so yeah, it's going to die. And that's 2 hits. It's got one of the territorial squads. And it's dead. Commandos pair just chilling there, giving our blue player an advanced warning of what's coming for him. Command squad in Merkava 2A. It's kind of an expensive way of getting a CV out onto the field. That's 190 points. But if they get the counter cabin to Bravo, that will give the blue player a +1 tick. And Atakazi could definitely do with all the tick that they can get. A pair of Canadian rifles just kind of chilling down there. If they whack the chaparral, that would be funny. KV-107. That's probably what that's the Japanese one. So that's probably, is that the Kuche-90 in there? Oh, STRF 9040 with just rifle infantry. So that's going to be the was it Panzerskizzi? Is that what they are? I can't remember. Panzerskizzi 90 or whatever. Or you can get 75 in them as well. Territorials going up against the Chasseurs. Generally not a great idea to fight your infantry and force with stacked like that, because they tend to share morale damage, which just makes them all worse instead of just the one being depleted. Commandos 90 popping some transports. They do it pretty reliably. The Karl Gustav M2, it's not an amazing weapon in game, but it's decent. Oh. CV coming out, is that probably I didn't see where it got called out to. Don't think our red player is gonna try and countercap Foxtrot because they just don't have the presence there, so it's probably going for Delta, which makes sense. Countercap that. That's gonna nullify the +1 and give them a +1 instead. And just keep building and building that advantage. Oh, Fasco Jaeger being engaged by an M11381. And getting mortared. Right by the TH495's movement. Oop, and stunned. Gotta love mortars. I know some people... Oh, we have M11381. Did go down. Probably, AMX 10RC probably got it. And this does highlight something that the red player needs to do, is get units in these like clusters of trees and deny them to their opponent. Get some recon in there, just keep eyes. You don't need to push Foxtrot, but you know, they just gotta, you know, deny this to the enemy so that they can't be flanked from there. Kuche-90 probably be able to clean up the territorials pretty easily. And that's 15 points worth of infantry versus 30 points worth of infantry. Oh, F-111C special coming out. Looks like the buildings are going to get cleared out pretty easily. These Canadian rifles have a long way to walk, though. It's probably the ones that were over there. Yeah. Not the most efficient way of clearing a building, but it works. Ooh, those tracked rapiers definitely need some fuel and ammo. And this is a good move from the red player, you know, making sure that they're pushing down and, you know, controlling this side of Delta. Because that's some things what you see players do, is they just get hyper-focused on this corner here and forget that, you know, you need to control this whole section. Especially because if you control that, you can then try and push down through the trees here, and especially relevant for this situation is that's where the CV is, and it's very damaged. Commandos 90 have gone into there. Sultan's chilling there. Oh, here we go. Big gun. What do we got? M110A2s. Are they on the money? That HLVW is definitely feeling it. Is the red player paying attention, though? And dead. Let's give them the +2. Rover Wombat's nice. It's actually not a horrible situation for them, providing they're paying attention, because they have a Sultan right there that they can move back. Oh yeah, M110A2s are... that's the Dutch one. I prefer the base M110 at 70 points. You know, less range and accuracy, which, especially on a bigger map, can be a problem. But it's just, well, first of all, it's cheaper to call out, but also its resupply cost is a lot lower. If my memory serves me correctly, it does not consume as much supplies to does not consume as many liters of supply. I do believe is how it's measured. They sent back the Bravo CV, not the Delta CV. Like, I kind of get it. You know, get the counter cap in. But I don't know. Anyway, what's this firing on now? Is it still firing on the same position? Looks like it. I really hope that the blue or red player has the wherewithal not to put the CV in the same position. Blue cannot see the CV. That has been cleared up there. Chasseur being cleared up by wombats. Oh, wombats. Spartan's going for a drive. Okay, Sultan coming out for Foxtrot. Yeah, just park it out in the open. Yeah, sure, why not? Whatever floats your boat. And F-111Cs, where are they going? Oh, they're going to take any hits from the chaparral. Oh, took a hit from the track rapier, that's for sure. But they did get the CV in Foxtrot. Not a great trade, but it has given the blue player +1, so that's 233 to 93. That is a big deficit that blue needs to work through. Command infantry coming out. Where are they going, though? Is he seriously going to put them in the exact same spot where they got sniped? Like, it's not the dumbest move ever, like, you know, yeah, because the blue player's going to have to find them again if they want to snipe. Or no, are they going to Bravo, maybe? Who knows? Also, that F1 so you didn't just get the CV, it also got the chaparral, so it's 170. Or, it's actually more than 170 points, since they're, what, 190 points. Which, you know, what, F1FC is, what, so 140 for one of those? So, like, point-wise is not a terrible trade. But, you know, you have to think about availability as well. You know, it's half the card gone. But, you know, sometimes you do have to make those trades if you think it will get you the victory. And then a command infantry coming out to Foxtrot. And a sip of tea. Alright, so by countercapping Bravo, that is going to give the red player a +2. And both players are going to be putting CVs in the Foxtrot shortly, so that's not going to be a significant... It's not going to change the current point acquisition. There we go, I can English. Providing that the blue player remembers to unload their CV. Let's see. They don't see it right now. It's possible that they could have seen it driving in, but who knows. Challenger 1 Mark 1's just bullying everything. Oh, and 1A1, which is one-on-one. It will beat a Challenger 1 Mark 1. It's not as tough, but it's a much better gun. But 2v1, not great odds. But it looks like it's going to be able to retreat successfully. Nope, Kernass. Is he going to get a double tap? And I got one of them. One miss. Almost got the CV, though, in the track rapier. Or not the CV, the supply. Actually, the CV went down in Delta. I didn't even see that happen. Huh. Well, that now... Oh, Adakazi is taking a +1. if the red player remembers to unload their command infantry in Bravo, that will put it to 0-0 for acquisition. There we go. They remembered. 260 to 111. 9 minutes left. That's pretty iffy for blue. It's not undoable if they can get a +2 going, even a +3. Or, oh, I can't actually remember the how long between each income tick now. Oh. Oh, what do we got here? Oh, interesting. I think we might see some shenaniganizing occur. Now, if only they called it out to this side, then they would have flown over the commando pair and possibly seen them, maybe. Commando pair weapons are turned off, so they were not going to give the position away by shooting. But they can definitely see that happening. And hopefully they will respond. Oh, ideally, they would respond. I'm not biased towards either side here. Okay, Pumas are just flying over. I guess they're just going to try and see if they can find the command infantry, but they're just going to get shot down. Oh. Yeah, Chumata and the Nana Yonshiki. Where's it? Nana Sanshiki. There we go. Nana Yonshiki is the Type 74 main battle tank, if I recall correctly. Chumata's going to pop a Spartan. Yep. These guys are just driving in the open. No attempt to smoke or do anything. No fire support. They're just going to get chewed up in the open. Stage number 495s would be doing some work if they moved up. F-111C, probably going to bomb in there. That's out of ammo. No ASFs that I've seen from the blue players, so just a free bombing run, I guess. But it misses. Oh, Eurofighter Typhoon. That will discourage, well, Eurofighter Typhoon, or really any of the Super ASFs on Elite's going to discourage most people from sending out an ASF. Those 94s are going to be... Yeah, they're not great against infantry. Not terrible. Not great. But these guys are really good at bullying lighter vehicles, like TH-Nort 495s. Okay, red player knows to split up helicopters. Call them out in stacks, split them up on the field. It's faster that way. F-111C. Nope. CF-18. What are they going for? Trying to get the STRF? AMX-10? Like, what are we looking for? What are we doing here? You're just going to get eaten by those tracked rapiers. Oh, yep. Combine them so they both split the ammo pool. One hit. Oh, near miss. And they got the AMX-10 RC. That's, okay. Penza Skeletti, or however the Swedish would say it. And Kurnas is out. Your fighter is almost out of fuel, but has enough to vector in and take shots. Not quite sure what they're hoping to achieve with the Kurnas. Oh, or is the Capac going to bite it? Yes. Oh, and I didn't even notice they got another CV, or... Yep, okay, there it is. They got another CV into Delta. That's a +3. Oof. I think Red has this game in the bag. And then here come the Drag Rapiers. that SCRF is better located and wasn't already panicked from the clusters by the looks of it. Probably would have maybe taken out a Lynx or two. Check Rapiers, get one, and now they're out. Ooh, Harrier GR7. F Cobra is like technically better than a Lynx H7, but just because it doesn't need to take as long to aim, because these have fixed forward firing 20mm versus the turret one on the Cobra. But there's a bunch of them, and they were already looking in that direction. Blue player does have P sounds, but they just don't seem to use them very much. Oh, block of units over here going for Bravo. Don't know if they're going to be able to capitalize on anything. And Eurofighter's back out. Okay, interesting smoke. Red player's at 352. Oh, their commando pair is on the move. Weapons on. Kind of too little, too late. The intel they were giving was definitely useful, you know, being able to see what's coming in early, providing that the blue player's looking at any given time. But 4 stack of C2 mechs is okay. Just gonna go and ruin somebody's day with those. Not as good as they used to be. You know, still 85 points, but they got their availability reduced. Can't recall what it is off the top of my head. It just went down whatever one increment. So now they had like the same availability as something like the K1. Which is like fair, because like the Leopard C2 is pretty good for the price. Obviously his armor's not the best, but the gun's pretty punchy. Not the highest AP, but you know, good accuracy, decent stabilizers, you know, 10 RPM. You know, it can put the hurt on. Those guys went for a Hail Mary and it did not work out. Let's see the ears do some work. Yeah, they're too HE. And they're missing. Welcome. Classic ATGM. There we go. And that's game. The blue player, whose name I cannot recall the pronunciation of, was victorious with 430 conquest points to Hadakazi's 111. Or it's, yeah, well, since they're both blue fourth, they both are in blue. Red player was victorious with 430 to blue's 111. 3,230 kills for blue versus 1,000, or for red versus 1,760 for blue. That's rough. That's actually interesting. For a while, it looked like the blue player was definitely on top of thing, or yeah, blue player was definitely on top. You know, better position. They took Foxtrot. Yeah, they just got ground down. Part of it was, so yeah, they had some similarities between their grinding. Like they were both leaning on Commandos 90, which, you know, very good unit for especially the price, 20 points. But what was it? Blue players, their Commandos 90 were down vetted. Red players were up vetted. So, you know, one-on-one, you're definitely looking at the red player having an advantage there. And then for the grinding combination, you know, you had Chasseur, base Chasseur plus Commandos 90, which is not a great combination, not the worst, versus Territorials and Commando 90. And like you know, I felt like maybe it's a little overly negative of reservists in the previous random casts, but like I think that's largely just because we saw them being used just by themselves, which is not great. But in this match, we actually saw the proper use of the territorials, where using them as meat shields. They go in first, they take the hits, and then your tanks and your shock infantry follow them up and do the killing. And that's what we saw our red player do a lot in this match. The territorials are taking the hits, and then the commandos 90, and the Challenger 1 Mark 1s roll in and do the damage. Territorials take the damage, commandos 90, Challenger 1 Mark 1s do the damage. Easy math. So yeah, I think that is a just much more cohesive micro, or not really micro, but just more cohesive just force composition. Aside from that, kind of some odd airplay from red player, just in the form of the CF-18s. Like, they're not bad. Like, they're not a bad cluster bomber. Not the best cluster bomber, but they're not bad. Just the first one, that must be like a right-click attack, or like something wonky happened where it lost line of sight, or just sometimes the plane AI just shits the bed and they just go for a joyride. It happens. And so yeah, just flew in and just got double tapped by the tracked rapier. But speaking of airplay, red player made very good use of their F-111Cs. Did a lot of damage with those, and and the blue player, just their AA allocation was not the best, but with the tracked rapier FSAs, they could have been located better, or at least on the Foxtrot, that one could have been located better because it was way too far back, if I recall correctly. Also, it had the chaparral was there, but that's more of an anti-helo piece. It can still do work against planes, though. Like we saw that in the last random cast. The chaparral's doing work against planes. You have two of them together, they can do some work. Oh yeah, just I think this battle is also just a good example of a more expensive tank is, better than a cheaper tank. Especially in Delta. There we saw what is it where it's failing me, the M1 IPs versus versus Challenger 1 Mark 1s. That's a 25 point difference between them, 80 points versus 105. And like the Challenger 1 Mark 1s just wiped the floor with the M1 IPs. Like, we can talk about this tank is good, this tank is good, but sometimes what it comes down to in this game is when you have similar numbers of units, the more expensive unit of that same type is going to be better for the most part. So you have 2 or 3 M1 IPs going up against 2 or 3 Challenger 1 Mark 1s. Challenger 1 Mark 1s come out on top. But yeah. Any other thoughts? Blue's airplay was not particularly present, not a lot, and that's not surprising. Like, they're doing a straight blue deck, no nation or coalition, so that's not a lot of activation points. I think 45 versus was it red player would have had 55 activation points to work with. And like the Kurnath is a good plane. Sorry, hiccup or something. It's a good plane. It can be very obnoxious to play against. Like, if you use it properly, that thing is annoying. We didn't see it used particularly well this match. I think I only saw it do like one strike, and then it got suicided to try and engage a F-111C. It just got eaten by a Eurofighter. And and honestly, Commonwealth actually has like a decent air tab. Is it like top tier air tab? Maybe not, but it has some good options. Like it has, you know, F-111C is a great bomber. Harrier GR7, which you saw in this battle a little bit, you know, it's obviously not as strong as it used to be, but it's still very strong if you use it properly. Eurofighter Typhoon is, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. Like, you know, it's like the F-15C where it's just generic super ASF. It doesn't do anything particularly well or poorly. Like, it's not as good as the Su-27PU or the Rafale. It's not bad, but also in Commonwealth Air Tab you have other options for ASS. You know, the mid-range, you have the CF-188, Tornado F. I'm blanking on that. Is it the Tornado FA1 and the FA2? Is that what they are? Whatever. The British Tornado ASFs. The 115.1 and the 135.1. I personally prefer the CF-188 myself, but, you know, the other two aren't bad. The 115.1, the cheaper one, comes on Elite. Only has 6 missiles, but, you know, it's Elite, so it's more it's reliable. The 135.1, it's on as a Veteran is the second highest, yeah, same as the CF-188, 2 on Veteran. And it has the longer range on its MRAM, which is handy, and it has 40% ECMs. You know, it's good plane. It's good ASF. It does have AIM-9Ls, which can be kind of lackluster, but it does have a 6+4 missile combo, so if it gets a hit with the MRAM, then it can get a kill with the AIM-9L. Though if it's down to just AIM-9Ls, then yeah, obviously it needs 3 hits from those to get a kill. Then, you know, that's an unlikely situation, especially if it gets into gun range. It's a good plane. You know, like if you take the Eurofighter, and then you can pick a card of either those, you know, CF-188 or the Tornadoes, vetted of course, you can't go wrong. Also, Commonwealth has 2 decent options for seed. I think that's maybe overselling their seed. Basically, you have the Sea Harrier with the alarms, which are a good missile on a bad platform. Just because it doesn't have stealth. Like, its ECM is fine. Speed is okay. You know, 750 kilometers an hour airspeed is handy. Especially since it does have AIM-9L, so if you wanted to risk it, you can use it as a secondary role as like a helo popper. But, you know, want to be careful doing that. It's an expensive and low availability asset to do that with. Oh yeah, like, so it has like the alarms are good anti-radiation missiles. But, you know, the Sea Harrier it doesn't have stealth, and the problem with not having stealth on it is that it makes the job of the other player easier when it comes to radar micro if they're a bit sloppier with it. It does give them advanced warning that it's coming. They'll see it sooner. And then you have, of course, the other seed option, which is much cheaper. It's like, what, 30, 40 points cheaper. You know, you have the Electric Voodoo, which is, you know, good platform. You know, it has stealth. It has high ECM. What's it, like 50% ECM? And is it good stealth on it? Yeah, like it's, you know, that's a good platform. And what is it? 900 kilometer an hour airspeed is fine. But it's armed with, you know, not a very good anti-radiation missile. You know, it has the Strike, which is just meh. Obviously, if you want, you can up vet and only take the 1 instead of, I think it's 2 down vetted. So it does get a more reliable missile. The missiles do become more reliable that way. But, you know, only 1. So you have to be careful. Yeah. Alright, I'm kind of getting away from the battle, though. But yeah, like, Commonwealth Air Tab use property can be pretty brutal. You know. Maybe not the best in the way of your anti-tank options. You know, you either, you know, trying to cluster them with the CF-18, which is not great. Like, it'll do a lot of damage to less expensive tanks, but against super heavies, 3 and 4 top armor, it's lacking. Unless you use both of them on the same target, in which case, yeah. Like, I've done that. Like, I've used, I've dubbed, if your opponent allows you to get away with it, you right-click on their super heavy with the CF-18. It won't kill it, but it will do a lot of damage. What else is there? Yeah. Besides that, you have whatever the Jaguar that the British have, which is fast but terrible, bad turning, bad ECMs, like only 20% ECM. Has 30 AP missiles, has 2 of them, but they're M-class, but it's very hit or miss, literally. And then, of course, you have the AH-4K Kahu, which is, or Kahu. Good missiles, but it's, it's an A4 Sky Raider. It's slow. So you do have to take that into account. It's not very responsive. You have to have it already out. You can't react quickly with it. Aside from that, and once again, I'm getting away from the actual battle itself. I'm just rambling. I need to stop doing that. Yeah, it's just blue player got the positional advantage early on, especially in Foxtrot, and in that area between Foxtrot, Delta, and whatever the other sides. Is it Charlie? Pretty sure. Yeah, it's Charlie. Is it Delta? No, Delta and Charlie. Are those the 2 point? I'll be the first to admit that I can never remember which zone is which on most maps. Oh yeah, but so had the and like you saw that, like, they had the positional advantage and they managed to push back. Red's initial push into Delta, but then Red just kind of demonstrated just that better grinding combination. The Challenger 1 Mark 1s basically controlled the open field in this battle for the most part. Not a lot of ATGMs. Decent recon from both players for the most part. Obviously Blue had got the the shenanigans in Red's base, and which, like, Red responded fairly well to that situation, I'd say. They grabbed, not a lot of indecision by the looks of it. They just grabbed the CV that they thought could get there fast and drove it back. And I think in the match I was maybe going, well, why won't you do the CV called it for Delta, but honestly, I think they made the right choice in the long run because, the Delta CV, that's going to give them a +2 point advantage versus, the -1 point advantage for moving the, is that Charlie at the top? No, whatever. They're moving that CV from the 1-pointer. And that CV was much closer than the Delta CV, so that's the right choice to make. They left it out in the open, but didn't hurt them, so. What else is there? That's a big thing. Obviously Red player, could have gotten more base security out earlier, especially, I don't know if they had any recon helicopters. But hey, if they had those Lynx H7s out on the flanks early, that could have maybe seen something and stopped the Commando Para from getting in. And of course, the Commando Para, sorry, collecting my thoughts. This is one of the situations where since I can't read the mind of the blue player, I don't know what they're paying attention to at any given time. So it is a situation where it's hard to know how well or how much they gain from the Commando Para being able to see the spawn lane like that versus maybe just sacrificing them to do some sort of, whack a CV that's driving in or capture a supply truck and, cause some disruption or move in and do some, or especially after the second CV got in, that the blue player didn't try to maneuver the Commando Para and try and find them. Like, it probably would not have been hard for them to get him into position to see something, especially if the red player is not paying attention at any given moment. Not looking at their mini map, is focused on the front line, doesn't notice the blue square pop up temporarily before getting back into cover and disappearing. Things like that can be very easy to miss. Yeah, like once again, it's just one of those things, you know, can't read minds. Don't know what they're thinking. Got to see Rover Wombats, which is nice. Always a pleasure to see the Wombats. No Wolverines, though. Yeah. Kind of risky move from the blue player, not really starting with an AA, though. Especially in ranked. Do I have any other thoughts? No, it's just, yeah, like, you know, both players are making pretty heavy use of the mortars by the looks of it. Definitely saw a lot more smoke from blue than from red, but I also saw red using their 81mm mortars more often, especially against infantry and whatnot, which is, you know, it's always a good target. Even if you're not killing them, if you're getting those mortars close on them, that's going to cause morale damage, it's going to suppress them, it's going to cause them to panic, and that's going to make your job of killing them easier. And, yeah. I don't know. Great use of combined arms from red. I don't know. You know, I guess that's really all I have to say. Like, they just, they got onto the back foot near the beginning. You know, they overcommitted on that delta push, didn't have enough covering Foxtrot, but they recovered. And, yeah, just good force composition. Like, sometimes that's just what it comes down to. Like, you have a good unit combination, you use it properly, and if you have a better unit combination than your opponent, who is using them as well as you are, you know, better combination beats the less better combination, you know, not as good combination. Sometimes that's just how it goes. And it's not, I didn't notice like any particular skill gap between either player, so I can't remember what ranks there are. I think red player is a first lieutenant versus a lieutenant colonel, so I say, yeah, maybe a slightly higher quality of play from red, I think, but it's not like I noticed like from my perspective, I did not notice like a huge difference in play quality, aside from maybe just like, once again, the red player is definitely much more aggressive with their mortars and targeting infantry. Oh yeah, and also, going, you know, something I forgot to mention with the tanks, you know, the blue player did have M1A1s, but only called the one out relatively late. So that maybe could have been something that they could have done better, is called out the M1A1s earlier so they have something that's more comparable tank-wise. Even better, you know, better even, you know, better gun, slightly worse armor. Or, well, 2 less frontal armor. I can't remember what the other armor stats, how they compare. I think it's just slightly less armor overall on the M1A1 compared to the Challenger 1 Mark 1. But it's just a much better gun. Shoots faster, better AP, better accuracy, better stabilizer. Or better stabilizer. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that's better accuracy. Not like massively better accuracy though, but slightly better. And yeah, this has been going long enough, so I'll call it here. I'm Xander Turon. This was Random Cast episode 50. I'll catch you guys in the next video maybe. In the meanwhile, take care and have a lovely day.